Hi, good evening, all of you guys. Hope all of you can hear me. Yeah, guys, can anyone please confirm is I'm audible and is my voice is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
Sir, your voice is little low, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me check from my side also if there is an
Yes.
issue. Is there? I think so. I don't have an issue from my side.
It's
Maybe
clear for me.
the problem may be also with on your side also. So please increase your audio, the sound, and because from my side I don't find any problem from my side. Yeah, fine. And is my screen is also visible to all of you guys?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Yeah, please guys, it is going to be better to use a chat panel. Okay, that is also fine. If there is an issue is there, first initially use a chat panel, or if you have any questions or anything answers, so you can just use a chat panel initially. If you have any doubts, you can unmute yourself and you can discuss that also. Better to use this without having any disturbance. You can use a chat panel. There is an option called as a chat. So there you have an option called as to everyone will be there, guys. So please send it to everyone so that everybody can understand, everybody can have an idea about what I'm talking about that. Okay. So before starting the session, guys, hope all the participants has been attended the previous classes. Anyone is there, guys, who has been joined for the today's class? If today is your first class, anyone is there?
Yes, sir. Today is my first class.
Okay.
Today is my first class as well.
Okay. Okay. Who is the two participants? Ankit Sahu.
First class.
Yeah, three people. Ankit.
And Wahid is there.
Okay. Okay. Four people. Me also. Ambika. First session. Okay. Fine, guys. Don't worry about the previous classes. I think so. Yeah. There are some 3 or 4 participants are there who has been joined for the today's class. Today is your first session. So no worries about the previous classes because it is just a 2 workshops has been taken, a free workshops. And just we have been started with some introduction to what is data science, what you are going to learn in the data science, what are the contents of that, how much time it will take, what is our roadmap, and how our journey will be there. So these are the things I have been just given some clarity. No worries because my backend team from Durgasoft, they will share you all the recorded videos of the previous sessions. You can just go through them and you can decide if you are interested to join. So, or whether not interested to join, you can just go through the recording sessions and you can start with them. I think remaining participants, guys, I think 30 people are there. Yes, no problem. Aniket, I think Aniket Sahu. No worry. So the 3 classes, you will be getting the recorded sessions for you. It is only just an introductions. We have not yet started with any practicals. We have not started with any implementations. Just why we have to learn data science, what we have to learn, how much extent we have to learn. Those are the things we have been discussed about that. Okay. You can just go through the recording videos of the last, whatever the 3 classes are there, and you can just get some clarity about what we have been discussed about them. Right. Sorry, guys. Today I'm not feeling a little bit well due to some cold. 1 or couple of days you have to bear me. Okay, fine, guys. For remaining people, guys, I think it's ready to start our sessions, guys. Any doubts? Anybody, guys? Any doubts before starting the session? If you want any clarifications, any questions from anyone?
Actually, sir, I want to know, sir, the course content is quite high. How can it completed in 4 months just?
Yeah, it's as I already given you the complete day-to-day session. Have you gone through the day-to-day sessions actually? Have you seen that?
No, sir. Today is my first class. That's why I'm asking.
Today is your first class. No worry, because already my backend team will share you the day-to-day what is the schedule is there. Totally, it is going to be 125 hours. It will take it. I don't know who you. Yeah, who is the person? What is your name, if you don't mind? Saurabh.
Saurabh.
Okay, Saurabh. Yeah, fine. Yeah, Saurabh. We have been having a day-to-day sessions, a day-to-day completely. How much time it is going to take? We have a complete. We have a complete plan for our program actually. The main problem here is, yes, absolutely, it is going to be a high content is there. But the problem here is, for example, there is a working professional is there. So we cannot make him to sit for 5 months or 6 months in this particular training program because due to their other commitments. So as a freshers, okay, not a problem. 5 months, 6 months, even 1 year also not a problem. But for working professionals, 3 months is going to be the maximum they can hold up. because they can get some kind of a permission from the team leaders or their project managers. Beyond that, nobody will accept it actually. So that's why we total sessions are going to be 125 sessions is a total course curriculum. Inside that, there are some sessions which we are going to deal on Sunday workshops. As a workshops, we are going to conduct them actually. So our target is to complete within 100 sessions. 100 sessions makes around 4 months of time. So 4 to at least 4 months. 4 months means 100 days, 100 sessions. 102, which is going to be 105 or 107. Maximum we'll want to wind up within that particular course curriculum actually. Yeah, who is that? Snehasis Roy. Yeah, our backend team will get back to you. Is today's your first class, Roy, Mr. Roy? Is this your first class or you attended the previous yesterday's workshop?
Sir, I attended previous workshop.
Previous workshop.
Yes, sir.
Did my backend team has been get back to you?
No, sir, I haven't gotten
You got an email. You didn't get your email also. Okay, I'll share you the contact details and the contact person details also. If you have any questions, you can approach them, or we can just contact them for the further discussions. Okay.
Okay, okay, sir.
Fine, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, fine. I'll share you the details. It will be there in my email. I'll just check it out the email, and I'm going to do that. I think these are the two numbers. Anyhow, I'll share them. These are going to be. I'll share the details if anybody wants. I'm sharing it to everyone, guys. I'm going to share it with everyone so that you can see these are the two contact numbers. These are the contact numbers actually. I think 918885252627 and 7207212427. These are the two contact numbers. You can just contact. I think she was the point of contact is Bhavani. I think I didn't remember her name. So just you can contact them directly. These are the contact numbers. Yes, guys. Any further questions, guys? Anyone? Yes, Shivaling, what is the syllabus for data analytics? Yes, as part of the data analytics means your course is going to be up to here, guys. As part of a data analytics, you have to learn core Python. Sorry. You have to learn the NumPy. You have to learn the pandas. You have to learn the visualization. You have to learn the R, and you have to learn the Power BI. These are the whatever the topics. Even Plotly and Dash also you can learn it for as part of the data analytics parts. Even Hadoop and Spark, that is also required for data analytics. Machine learning, deep learning, MLP. These are extra chatbots, Azure ML. These are going to be apart from the data analysis actually. Yeah, data analytics means it is only for analyzing the data. Data science means which is going to be predictive analysis, analyze them and do the prediction actually. That is what we are going to be doing as part of the data science course. Okay. And one more thing, anyhow, I'm going to, don't worry about the previous classes, guys. If anybody has missed the previous 3 classes, I think so on the 9th, 10th and 11th, I think so, or 10th, 11th and 12th, 3 classes has been taken place. Only just we have given some introductory to machine learning actually, guys. We didn't started anything. What generally we do it in machine learning, what languages we learn, why we have to use Python. Some basic ideas only have been got given. Don't worry about them. Those topics will be repeated once again when I start with the actual machine learning classes actually, guys. Yeah, yes, absolutely. There is nothing like a criteria that you should be only a computer science engineering. As already I told you, I think Mr. Digvijay, okay. So maybe you have been not attended your previous classes, maybe. Because I have given a clarity about that. Anybody can learn this data science course because it is not a computer skills. It is not a programming language. It is a skill which anybody can learn who is having a little bit idea about mathematics. Maths and statistic requirement is going to be the only requirement. And I think Digvijay, I think you already have an, as you are saying that you are from mechanical background. It is actually this also MATLAB, the MATLAB is also going to be actually some people also uses a MATLAB basically for this particular machine learning and data science. I think as a mechanical engineer, you are having a little bit idea about the MATLAB also, maybe. But I think nowadays they have removed it. I don't know because I was not into that. But I have came to know that the MATLAB was no more available in the mechanical subject actually. Is it right? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Shivaling. Essentials of data analytics will be covered in your course. Absolutely, we are going to be gets covered actually. Okay, no data structures are required. Nitish, how long this course will take? Digvijay, it will take 4 months of time. At least minimum 4 months it will take it. 4 to it won't go up to 5 months. 4 months hardly it is going to be 100 session. 4 months maybe plus another 1 more week, because all that FAQs, sometimes we don't have any further holidays in the next coming 4 weeks, the 4 months of time, but we don't know. No. So what will happen actually due to the pandemic actually? So in the last year, I was affected with COVID during the training. So almost all 3 weeks, I have taken the off. For 1 week, for 15 days, I was in isolation, and 1 week I have taken the rest. So it is 20, almost all 3 weeks I have taken the rest actually. So we don't know what will happen. So actually, approximately it is for 4 months. It is going to take it actually. It's not required. There are some miscellaneous topics are there like big data, Tableau, and some kind of an R. These are some additional topics actually, guys. Okay. No, our actual course is going to be starting from today onwards. From today, I'm going to start with your actual course, Pavitra. Fine. Okay, your MSc Maths. Yes, absolutely, Shivaling. Your Maths is going to be the basic prerequisites. Shivaling, as part of your MSc Maths, do you have any programming language in your course? As part of your MSc, do you have any programming languages? That means any software languages? You don't have any R language? I think nowadays universities are providing, the universities are including the R language. You don't have the R language? Yes, you have no ideas. I think nowadays universities are including, no? Your universities are including the R language in their course curriculum. I have seen MSc Statistics. Yeah, no problem, guys. No, nothing. There is nothing requirement is, guys. There is nothing like you should be a software professional. But only thing is the people who are having a little bit idea about programming languages, it's a little bit easy to learn for them. For the people who do not have an idea about the programming languages, initially they will suffer a little bit, but you can just handle the things over the time period. It's not a problem at all. Yes, anybody? Yes, Rajesh, I think you are having 10 years of experience in testing. Absolutely. So I think yesterday I have spoken to one of the participant, Savita. I think, can you put the registration link? Digvijay, I think already have been registration link, no? So you can just contact them. You can just contact them, whatever the details I have been shared them. You can just contact those particular people. Once again, I'm going to be sharing the contact numbers. You can just contact them and we can do them. Yeah, again, I have shared them actually. Okay. So these are my their contact numbers actually. And within a couple of days, they will be creating a group. Either it's maybe a WhatsApp group or it may be Telegram. They will create it for our knowledge sharing, for your doubts clarification. You will be creating one group also gets created. So 16,000 is the course fees, and you can discuss related to the course, the fees details with that particular concerned people actually. Okay. So I myself is a consultant trainer. So I will be a freelancing trainer actually. So I don't work for any institutes. So I was a freelancing trainer. So as part of the technical, the course completion, as well as the whatever to get a job. So whatever the requirements are there, I'm going to clarify those things. I will be handling any technical questions. If you have any fees related issues, or if you have any drive, any access, so you can contact those particular people, right? So ready to go, guys? Everyone ready to go, guys? Fine. So I think I have clarified all your questions, guys. So ready to go. So our journey is going to be starts today, guys. Today we are going to start our main classes from now onwards. It is almost all 17th January, guys. Your almost all approximation course completion time is going to be February, March, April, May. This is going to be total 4 months, guys. Almost all by the May, which is going to be 17th. Your course is going to be approximate day of completion actually, guys. Yes, Jaisha, you can do them. You can do them. Yes, you can contact me after the course completion also. We'll be having a group. You will be having my email ID. You can have my number, and anybody can contact. Not after course completion, after 1 year, after 2 years. It's not after 2 years, even after 10 years also we can contact me, because so many people can contact me after the completion of their course. Even recently a post student who has done my course with me, it is a long back, 2011. During that MSBI, I used to give the trainings on MSBI. At that time, a student, so he has done a PhD and he was working as a manager in one of the this like a medical, like in some kind of a medical company. So after 10 years, he has been contacted me. So no problem. At any instant of time, you can contact me. Not a problem. So could let me know, is there a 100% placement provided? It is not a placement, guys. It is a placement support will be given. Placement assistance will be given. Whatever you require. Obviously, we'll also share the details, guys. We'll get a lot of requirements. So we're going to share the details, but there is no guarantee that you will be getting a job. But provided you have to follow the classes, you have to do a practice. Every day, you have to spend minimum 2.5 hours, guys. 1.5 hour class, which is going to be 75 to 90 minutes is your training. This is going to be your session, class training actually, guys. And another almost some another 60 to 70 minutes, you have to spend at least 750, 60 to at least 60, 70 minutes. You have to work for your practice actually, guys. So if you have a more and more time, I'm talking about only the people who are working professionals, freshers. If you are not having any job right now, you can spend as much time you can spend it. As much time you spend it, you will be getting a good opportunities actually, guys. A lot of research is required basically. Okay, fine, guys. So let's start our session, guys. As today is our first session. It's a first session means it is our starting of your journey, guys. So let us start with, and hoping everything goes well. So if everything goes well, so our expected date of completion of your course is going to be on the May 17th. By before the May 17th, you will be gets completing actually, guys, or maximum by end of the May. Maximum, there is a maximum extent you can do them, guys. Okay. So as we have been discussed, okay, what is data science, whatever the data science contains, what is NLP, what is deep learning, okay, what are chatbots, those are going to be technical aspects of our data science course. First of all, to do this particular data science course, you require some programming language. Some programming language is required, guys. So the most popular languages for your data science is going to be Python. Most popular is going to be Python, guys. Apart from Python, there is another language which is going to be either Python you can use. I think just give me a minute once, guys. Just give me a minute once, guys. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute once, guys. Yeah, I think this is good. This is well. We'll work on that. Yeah, you have to be using. No, guys, in web application development, we don't use it. There is a different scenarios. Okay, fine. Now, so which language we have to use? So one of the popular language which we can use is going to be Python, or a little bit similar to the Python is going to be an R language. So as part of our course curriculum, you will be learning two languages, guys. One is Python, completely dedicated with Python, and along with some knowledge and some practice on even R. You can also, that means 7 days we are going to be working, 1 week we are going to be working on our language. If you can practice that particular 7 days of time, you can also become an expert in our language. Because as already told you, it is not a concept of learning Python. It is not a concept of learning R. For implementing some kind of a machine learning tasks, not a program, to implement some kind of a machine learning task. So what are the techniques you require? Whatever that particular specialties you require, those things we are going to do it with the help of Python and R language. So first, we are going to start with the Python actually, guys. Let us start our main programming, our main skill starting from Python actually. Nowadays, Python is becoming very popular. It's a very, very popular language, becoming more popular day by day, year by year. The popularity and the usage of Python is getting gradually, it is increasing actually, guys. Almost all nowadays, whatever may be your expertise, everybody is learning Python. Everybody is learning Python. Even, sorry guys. Even some kind of a people like who are into the networking side, even those people are also learning the Python actually, guys. Why? Even networking people, guys. Even networking people is also learning Python actually. Why they are learning Python basically, guys? The first advantage is, guys, the first thing is Python is going to be a general purpose language. So the first advantage of the Python is going to be you will be sharing some kind of an PDFs will be shared actually, guys, along with the whatever the notes I'm writing here. So whatever the notes I'm writing here, you will be getting a access of this particular whatever the notes I'm writing here, along with the PDFs and along with the practical whatever I share basically. Okay, it's a general purpose language. You know what is meaning of a general purpose language? Almost all for any kind of purpose nowadays Python was used. Like, sir, who can use this particular Python actually, guys? Like, it can be used by any kind of an web application developers. So for kind of an web applications, guys, it may be a web or it can be mobile or it can be some kind of a desktop. Desktops are almost all outdated. It may be a web or it may be mobile applications, business applications, guys. You can develop some kind of a web applications. Sorry. We can develop some kind of a mobile applications. Not only this, guys, even some kind of an applications like games. So some kind of an games development actually, guys. Some kind of an development in some kind of an games. So there are going to be using this particular Python. So business applications, like it may be a web or it may be in mobile applications, like a game development applications, guys. Not only this, even some kind of a networking people also uses this particular data science, this particular Python. Not only them, even hackers, even the hackers are also using Python, as well as even mathematicians also, guys. Sir, what do mathematicians will do? They will apply their mathematical formulas, they will apply their mathematical equations, they will apply some mathematical theories, mathematicians, statisticians, even the statisticians, guys, a lot of statistical analysis, as well as which is going to be ML engineers, or it may be a deep learning AI related applications. Almost all, anybody, whatever may be your role, whatever may be your task. So generally most of the people, whenever they want to use some kind of an programming language to implement a particular task, they are using this particular Python actually, guys. Yes, we are going to do the model deployment, guys. The model deployment is going to be as part of the Azure. We are going to be doing this actually, guys. As part of our Azure and Azure ML, we are going to be using the deployment of the machine learning and deep learning models. We are going to be working about them. So this is in this particular topics, we are going to discuss them actually, guys. Right? Fine. Okay, so it's a general purpose language. That's saying that a mathematician may use this, a statistician may use this, or it may be an ML or a DL experts or an artificial intelligence experts, networking people, hackers, games developments, web application or mobile applications. Anybody can use this particular language actually, guys. Let us talk about some history about this particular Python actually, guys. Let us talk about some history about this particular Python. How that particular Python came into the existence. Some history is there behind them. Let us discuss about this one, guys. So let us talk about the history about this. When I talk about some kind of an history about the Python, how it was came into the existence actually, guys. Around in 1990, around 1990s, guys, around in 1990s, around exactly not in 1990, around some 1990, a team want to develop. There was a team working. The main target, the main objective of that particular team is a team want to develop a language. A team want to develop a language, which is a very, very simplified for the programming. Simplified. It is going to be very simplified for programmers actually, guys. This is their main aim actually. They want to develop a language. Which is going to be very, very simplified for the programmers. That is their main target actually. Their main aim is to develop a language which is going to be very simplified for programmers. They developed a language called as ABC. They developed a language called as an ABC, guys. So name of the language is going to be ABC. So we generally say that whenever we want to talk about a particular point, which is very simple to you, you will say that it is going to be just like walking on a water. So it's like a walk on a water, or it can be something like it is as simple as an ABC for me. That means generally to say that it is very simple for me actually. So they developed a language called as ABC, but due to some technical reason, this was not, it has been got introduced actually, guys. That means this ABC has been not came into the existence actually. It was not released due to some technical reasons. It has been not released actually, guys. And one of the team member, actually this team has been guided by one of the person called as, the name of the person is Rossum. His total name, the full name is going to be, he's a Dutch programmer actually. A Guido van Rossum is the name of this particular person actually, guys. It's a Guido or some Guido van Rossum is the name of this particular person who has been headed the team, who has been headed this particular team actually. So simply we call him as a Rossum, okay, van Rossum generally. So this is the name of the person who is one of the main reason why this particular Python came into the existence actually. So due to some reason, this ABC language has not came into the existence actually. It was not released. In spite from this ABC, he has developed this language called as Python. So Python was basically written by Rossum. So he inspired from this particular language. There are so many inspired languages actually, guys. So he was inspired from so many languages and he has written this particular language. He is not developed. It is written a language called as in Python basically, guys. Python was written by Rossum. He was inspired from that language called as an ABC. And there is a little bit history behind that. That means by this time, I think all of you have got you came to know why the name Python has came actually. Generally, whenever I said Python, generally when anybody talks about Python, the first thing that generally comes to our mind is basically the snake. So the snake, which we can see, very large snakes actually, which is going to be Python. Generally, immediately that comes to our mind. So basically, even there are some textbooks are there. Whenever we see some kind of an Python textbooks or some books related to Python, you will find a snake based on that. You will see a snake. And even when you see the symbol of Python also, guys, when you see whatever the symbol that is used for representing a Python, it looks like a snake actually. But there is nothing relevant to this particular name of the snake actually. It is not the name of that particular snake. It is not one of the species of the snake actually. So Python is going to be, actually the Python, it is going to be the name of a person actually, guys. The name of that particular, the person, is the name of a person, he's a director actually. So during 1970s, during some 1970s and 1970s, there used to be some kind of an web series, just like how on OTT platforms we are getting some kind of an web series. So we used to get some kind of an comedy show in English channel. It is one of the English channel actually. The name of that particular show is going to be Monty Python Flying Circus. The name of that particular show is going to be Monty Python Flying Circus is going to be the name of this. It is going to be Monty Python Flying Circus is the name of one of the director who directed this particular the comedy show, which is a web series called as an Flying Circus. You can see it even in the Netflix also we can find it actually, guys. In the Netflix we can find it off. You can ask, what is going to be Monty Python Flying Circus? This is going to be nothing but the name of the show. It's a British comedy show actually, which was aired somewhere around 1970s. It was aired actually, guys. 1969 to 1974, I think. Number of series are going to be 4, and it was now available on your Netflix. It was available actually. Monty Python Flying Circus. So this Rossum, who is a fan of this particular TV show, he has been named this particular language behind that particular, from that particular name, inspired from that particular TV show. But nothing relevant to the snake. It is going to be not the species of the snake. Nothing relevant to that particular snake actually, guys. Okay. So Python means it is not the name of the snake or not the species of a snake. It is a name of the director who directed this particular comedy show, a British comedy show called as a Flying Circus actually. And there are some interesting stories also, guys. There are some interesting stories are there. Some behind some names, there are some interesting stories are there. Like I think so, you have been heard about a name called as a Big Data Hadoop. It's a Big Data Hadoop actually, guys. I think you all of you know generally how the Hadoop is going to be represented. Basically, Hadoop is basically represented by like a toy elephant will be there actually, right? It is a toy elephant. When you see the Hadoop, you can see some kind of a toy. It's a kind of a toy, kind of an Hadoop. Elephant. You can see this actually. So what is the? There is also one interesting story behind them. Actually, the name of the person who was who written this, who developed this particular big data, the name of the person is going to be Doc Cutting. So because I also having an experience on big data, so I know about all these things actually, guys. The person who developed this particular big data system is a Doc Cutting. So at the initial stages, they used to call with a different names. So his son used to play, the Doc Cutting son used to play with a toy elephant. His son's toy name is Hadoop. He has been taken that Hadoop from the toy elephant name actually. So the name it has been taken is his son's playing toy. His name, it's the name of the toy is going to be Hadoop. He has taken that name and he has been given that particular name of that particular framework as an Hadoop. Like that, some interesting stories are there. There are not technical definitions or technical reason for that. Just it is a name of a toy. It is a name of a person who directed that particular TV show. So like that, some kind of an interesting stories. So the person who written this particular Python is a Guido van Rossum. So who was inspired from this particular language called as an ABC. If you want, you can see the Wikipedia page to get the complete history about this particular Python, guys. Okay. This is some history related to the Python actually, guys. And this Rossum want to make this particular, whatever the language he has been written, he don't want to limit the usage only for a specific people. He thought that everybody has to get the advantage of that. Everybody has to use it. So whenever if you want to make a software to be used by everybody, it has to be given at a free of cost. Not only free of cost. If I give it only for a free of cost, freely they can use, but tomorrow they want to customize, they can't customize it actually. Every time for any customization, they have to come to this particular community and they have to ask for the updates. That's why they made this language as an open source. So one of the main feature and one of the main advantage of Python is it's a general purpose language and it is going to be an open source. You know what is an open source, guys? Open source is nothing but it is free to use. You are free to use, and even not only free to use, guys, you are free to distribute it also. If you want, you can sell that particular code to any other client, to any other customer also. You can sell it, saying that that is your code. It is an open source, free to use and free to distribute, so that everybody is going to get some advantage, getting some advantages by using the functionalities of this particular Python. So there are so many advantages are there, guys. Slowly we'll study one by one. So first thing is it's a general purpose language. Anybody can use it. As a mathematician, you can use Python. As a statistician, you can use a Python. Or like a web developer, you can use a Python. Or you like a game developer. Or you are working on a networking. Or you are working as a hacker. Or you are working as an ML expert. Or you're working with as a DL. Or you're working on AI. Anybody can use the Python actually. And Python is an open source. It's a free to use and it is free to distribute. So whenever we talk about some of the features of this particular Python language, some of the advantages and some of the features of the Python language is one of the feature is going to be, guys, it is going to be one of the feature we can find a very advantage. Whenever we work with the most of the programming languages, one of the main headache in most of the programming languages, guys, if anybody having any questions, guys, you can use a chat panel. Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you guys why it is going to be more popular compared with the Java also. Okay, so that is what I'm talking about, that it is going to be one of the major headache with the most of the programming languages, guys. One is, if you want to use a variable, first of all, we have to declare the variable. There are so many advantages, there are so many features are there, guys. I'll tell you what are the features actually. Without declaring a variable, you can't use a variable. You can't use it. Directly, if you go to any language like C, C++, Java, any language, if I directly go to a language and if I say I equals to 10, it first says that I must be declared. It simply says that your I must be declared. Without declaring a variable, we cannot use it. This is one of the major headache for most of the programmers in any programming language. Without declaring a variable, you can't use it. One more thing. If you declare this integer I variable as an integer, throughout the program, you have to use the I as an integer only. You cannot immediately assign I equals to some kind of a string. This kind of an assignments cannot be done. So declaration is mandatory. With what type of variable, what type of data type we have been declared, with the same data type only we have to use throughout the program. You can't modify it to string. So these are the one of the major headache for so many programmers. Even while we are writing a small program also, you have to continuously declare the variables. But in Python provides you some kind of an advantage called as it's a dynamically typed language, guys. It is nothing but a dynamically, this feature is nothing but what we are going to call it as it's dynamically typed language. What do you mean to say a dynamically typed language? Meaning here is, guys, whenever we are using a variable, no declaration of variable, guys. No declaration of variable. We really don't declare a variable, guys. No declaration is required. Sir, do you mean to say that, you may get it out. Sir, do you mean to say that Python does not support data types? No. Python supports data types. We'll discuss them. Maximum today or tomorrow's class, we are going to discuss about the data types. But what is the meaning of dynamically typed language? Means you really don't require to declare the data types. You directly say I equals to 10. You directly assign the value I equals to 10. Automatically, the I will be dynamically declared as an integer data type. Automatically. It will treat, that means based on the data type you have been got used, it is automatically declared as an integer data type actually. Yes, Python is written in using C language. Yes, Savita, it was written using C language. Okay. We'll talk about that one also, guys. That one also we'll discuss them actually. Next one. Immediately, whenever I said I equals to hello, whenever I said I equals to hello, immediately it won't say that I already taken as an integer. You have to assign as an integer. No. Immediately the I automatically changes to, which is going to be changes to a string type of data type. So this is the main feature which Python provides you. Not only this, guys, there are so many other features are there. But basically one of the major headache from so many programming languages is declaration, and it is going to be nothing but typecasting. We have to do some kind of a typecasting. Typecasting means conversion from one data type to another data type conversion. Really in Python, you don't require them, guys. Directly, you use your variable, you assign whatever the variable. Forget about that. Whether you have initially assigned 10 or whether you assigned an integer, forget about that. Directly, you can give it as a string. Automatically, I changes from integer to string. Python supports data types, integers, strings, float, bool. Generally, these are the most commonly used data types actually, guys. A float, bool, integer, and a string. These are the 4 basic data types which will support, which Python will support actually. But we never declare. Don't declare them. Like other programming language, if I say integer I, it will give an error. You should not declare any variables. Directly I equals to 10. How this can be reflected in DB? Rajesh, I didn't get your question. How this can be reflected in DB? DB means, are you talking about a database?
Yes.
I didn't get you. How can be reflected in DB? Okay.
What am
Yes.
I asking, if you are without doing any feeds or any columns or predefined, how can it save in our database? Suppose if you have one column, we are
Okay.
already declared where or some field values. Right?
No. Okay, I got your question. That means if you already have a data, we have a data. Yes, I will accept your statement. I'll accept your statement. But whatever you are talking about is going to be some kind of a 2-dimensional data, right? You are talking about a 2-dimensional data. That is a table. So that is going to be a little bit early to discuss, because equivalent to table in Python, we are going to be using something called as data frames. So when you go to the data frames, we'll discuss about them. So that is not a problem for that. Later, we are going to be discussing about them. As of now, we are going to be talking about some kind of scalar data types. You know, generally what are going to be the scalar types, which will generally hold only one single value, because Python is having a support of different type of data structures are there. there are some different type of data structures are there. These are only just the basic types. Later onwards, we are going to be studying about something like a list. We are going to be studying about something called as an tuples and something like an sets, and we are going to be working with the dictionaries. These are going to be some of the data structures in Python, the basic data structures in Python. And apart from that, even we are going to be working with the arrays. Sorry guys, and you are going to be working with the data frame. So whenever tomorrow, that means it's a different data structure. So in that case, as you're talking about that, whenever I extract the data from a table, I can't assign it to a single variable. I'll assign it to a data frame. So data frame data structure is different. Each column can contain a different data types. So first column can be an integer, second column can be a float, third column can be a string, fourth column can be a bool. So when you go to the data frames, we'll discuss about them. Okay, fine. So I'm talking about only just about the features of the Python basically. So one of the feature which is going to be the best feature which I can talk about here is it's a dynamically typed language, guys. It's a dynamically typed language where we don't require any declaration, and really we don't require any much about the typecasting. You really don't require to convert. Automatically, according to the data type, it is automatically chosen actually, guys. The next and the main advantage, guys. Generally, we already have an idea in C language when you're learning the C language. If you want to do some kind of a mathematical operation, whenever we do some kind of a mathematical operation, guys. Yes, that is what I'm talking about them. Shankar Prabhu, please send it to everyone. If you have any questions, please send it to everyone because everybody can see what I'm talking about that. So please send it to everyone. Okay, Shankar, fine. Why Python is used? Basically, that is what I'm talking about them right now. So basically in C language, while you're learning the C language, you know that, for example, I want to use a function called as an square root. Then what you do, we generally know that square root is a function which is going to be comes with a library called as an math. That's why we are going to do some kind of an hash include, which is going to be math.h. If I want to do some kind of a string related operations, we do something called as an, I didn't remember correctly, but it is going to be something like an string.h or whatever it may be, or char.h, whatever it may be. I'm not talking about them. Generally, we all of you know this, guys. Why do you include these libraries? Because whenever I include that libraries, then only that functions are going to be the predefined functions actually, guys. There are going to be some kind of a predefined functions will be there. So if you want to use a predefined function, we have to just include the libraries and we have to work with them. When it comes to C and C++, as you know that in Java, how do you do this? We know them, guys. In Java, whenever we want to do them, we are going to be having some kind of an classes. Generally, we are going to do some kind of an imports. We are going to do that. If anybody having the idea of Java. So no worries. Even if you don't have any idea about any programming languages, don't worry about them. So basically, whenever I want to use some kind of an predefined functionalities, there are some libraries will be there. If you have the library with you, then only we can use it actually, guys. So generally whenever it comes to the C language, math.h, it will give you some basic mathematical functionalities, like it can be square root, or it can be absolute, or it can be some other functionalities like simple SIG and sign, etc. will be there, guys. But with a limited scope only they will work. Same like that in Python. For any operation you want to do, there is a predefined function will be there actually, guys. For any functionality, maximum we don't write any functional code. You know what is a functional code, guys? Functional code means what it has to do. We have to write some code. That is a functional code, how it will function. Whenever I give some kind of an input here, whenever I give some input here, whenever I do this, what should happen? We have to write a functional code. In Python, maximum we don't write any functional code, guys. We really don't write any functional code. Because for any functionality you want to do, there will be one predefined function will be there. There is a function will be there, guys. So anybody maximum who do not have any exposure to programming languages, don't worry, we'll make you understand what do you mean this is a function. Function means, guys, some kind of an code they have been already written. Somebody has already written the function. We just call the function. In mathematics, you have an idea, guys, f of x. That is what we call it as a function. You just give some input to that. For example, guys, you all of you have an idea about this. F of x is equals to x square plus 1. Whenever I say f of 1, you know what is the meaning of this. 1 should be sent to this particular x, which is going to be 1 square plus 1, which is going to be 1 plus 1, which is going to be 2. If I say f of 2, which is going to be 2 square, 2 plus 1, which is going to be 5. In mathematics, you have an idea, guys. What do you mean is a function? Same as it is in our programming languages also, we have some functions will be there. Just if you pass some input, it is going to do some kind of a functionality and it is going to return the output to you. You need not to really write any code actually. Don't worry if you do not have any ideas, don't worry about that. The core, the basic concepts, you don't worry about them. In Python, every functionality any functionality will comes with almost all a predefined function. Sir, I want to do this functionality. What I have to do? You really don't require to write any code. Like a simple example, I'll tell you guys. I want to do some extraction. That means, you know, this gets compression and compression of the files, isn't it? So I want to do some kind of somebody has given a zip file to us, guys. It may be a .zip or it may be a .rar or it may be something like some other any compressed files. You want to extract these files actually, guys. You want to do some extraction. You normally know how to do that by using something like a WinRAR or it can be something like an WinZip. You can just extract it. But how do you do it programmatically? How do you do it programmatically? Whenever we ask the Python says that if you want to compress a file or do you want to extract, uncompress a file, what you have to do is don't write any code. I'll give you one function. You call the function, pass that file as an input. I automatically do that uncompression of the files actually. There is a function will be there. Absolutely, there is a function will be there. Sir, I want to create a file or I want to remove a folder. I want to create or I want to remove or I want to copy or I want to move a file or a folder in my operating system. Normally, we know how to create a folder, how to delete a folder, how to copy a folder, how to move a folder. Normally by right clicking and doing this. But I want to do it programmatically. How do you do that? No need to write any code. I'll give you one function. You just pass the input. I'm going to do behalf of you. For every functionality you require, there is going to be a function will be there actually, guys. But how the functions will come? These functions will come in C language as a part of headers. That is we call it as an header files, libraries. Whereas in Java, they are going to come like an external libraries or external classes, whatever they call it as. In Python, it is going to be comes in a format of modules or packages, guys. This is the one of the main advantage of using the Python actually, guys. That means all functionalities will be readily available, guys. All functionalities will not be available readily. What functionality you require? Basically, guys, when you open Python, very few functionalities it will work. If you want to do this functionality, there is a library will be there. You have to just add the library and we have to work with them. Do you want to do these operations? There is a library will be there. We have to import the library and we have to start working with them. Everything is available as a module or everything we are available as packages. Simply we call them as a libraries only, guys. They are nothing but libraries. Just like in C language, how do you have the header files? Same, the libraries, same as it is, we are going to be also having modules and packages or libraries, whatever that is going to be required for our implementation, guys. Everything is readily available, guys. No need to do any functionality. No need to do any functionality, guys. I'll show you some few examples for that. Just I want to show a few examples for that, guys. A few examples. Don't worry, this is going to be my previous class, which is going to be I'm working on Python. So don't worry, just have a look at this one, guys. I'll show you one example. Just a little bit advantage actually, guys. I want to generate some random numbers. Just an example, guys. I want to generate some random numbers. If you want to generate some kind of a random numbers, not sequence numbers, random numbers or sequence numbers, we are having a library called as a module called as NumPy. Basically stands for numerical Python. This is there as part of our course curriculum. 4 or 5 days we work on this NumPy module actually, guys. 5 days we are going to be gets working with them. Can you see? Generating arrays by using some built-in functions, generating some identity array, generating a matrix object in NumPy, generating a random numbers by using this one, generating a sequence of numbers. Anything is going to be done by NumPy. It is something advantage. That means it is not that much simple like other programming languages, guys. Sir, I want to generate a sequence of numbers from 1 to 10. How to generate it? Simply, I'll import the module called as a NumPy. I'll give an alias name, guys. NP dot, which is going to be a range of 1 to 11. 1 to 11 means starting from 1 and ending before the 11 actually, guys. It will just generate a sequence of numbers starting from 1 to 10. Sir, I can do this in most of the programming languages. There are some advantages are there. There is a function called as an linspace. Actually, in normally any language can generate. Don't worry, I'll discuss about them, guys. In between 1 to 11, I want to generate 10 values. See the difference, guys. Linspace is a function which will generate a numbers between 1 to 11 with a how many numbers you want to generate. In between 1 to 11, I want to generate 10 numbers. You can see the same output, guys. But if you observe carefully, I'll do one thing. I'll say 1 to 11, 10 actually, guys. Not only 10 numbers, how many numbers you want? I want 20 numbers. 20 equally divided, guys. 20 which is equally divided actually. I want to generate some around 90 numbers. I want to generate it actually, guys. Can you see the numbers? 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. How many numbers you require? You tell me. I'm going to generate evenly spaced numbers actually, guys. These are what we call it as evenly spaced number. What is evenly spaced number means? How much difference is there between 1 to 1.875? Same difference will be there from 1.1875 to 1.375. The difference will be 0.1875 will be the difference. You can see very clearly the difference. 100 numbers you want to generate. 99 numbers I want to generate actually, guys. These are going to be the numbers actually. How many numbers you tell me? I'm going to generate equally spaced numbers. I'm going to be generating this like this. Can you see how it is generating the numbers? I want some random numbers actually, guys. No problem at all. np.random dot, which is going to be something called as an random. We have a different methods are there. Don't worry. It is going to be random underscore integers. In between 1 to 100, I want to generate 5 random numbers or 20 random numbers. I want to generate it. Like that, it's a random integers or rand int. Does not matter. Rand int. Can you see? It is in between 1 to 100. It is generating 20 random numbers. It is generating. Sir, why do you use them? Absolutely, we'll use them, guys. For simulation of some examples. Normally, you know that random experiments we do it no in our probability. In our probability, we do some random experiments. So whenever I do this, so to simulate that kind of an example, we use this kind of a NumPy modules we are going to use this. So for every functionality you want to do, there is a predefined functions will be there. That particular predefined functions will be coming as a part of libraries, which is going to be what we call it as modules or what we call it as packages. So for any functionality, guys, for example, sorry guys, if you want to do this kind of an compression uncompression, the name of the module is going to be zip file, guys. If you want, you can check it out. Zip file module in Python. If you go online and you can verify. I want to know about what is going to be zip file. It is going to be zip file in Python. What is zip file in Python actually, guys? This is going to be a module which works with the zip files. It's a Python module actually, guys. Library. Simply, we can call it as a library or a module, whatever we call it as. The zip file format is a common archive and compression standard. This module provides, very clear, guys. This module provides all the tools to create, read, write, append, and list of zip files. So whenever we want to work with the zip files, we can use this particular zip file module actually. Sir, I want to create a folder. I want to delete a folder. For that, we are going to be having an OS module is there actually, guys. There is an OS module in Python. You can see documentation is from docs.python.org. It is nothing but a miscellaneous operating system interfaces. This module provides a portable way of using operating system dependent functionalities. What about a NumPy? NumPy is not an built-in. It is going to be just like another community contributed by some other community, guys. These are all open source communities. There are not any companies. They are the open source communities. It's a NumPy. It is a Python library, guys. It's a Python module. Basically to work with. Say, look at this, guys. Nearly every data scientist working in Python draws on the powerfulness of that particular NumPy. NumPy brings the computational power of languages like C and Fortran to Python, a language much easier to learn and use. With this power comes simplicity. A solution in Python is often clear and elegant. There are going to be so many advantages are there actually, guys. Okay. So like that, we are having a different libraries. So for every functionality you want to do, you have to know the library. Just we have to import the library and we have to work with them. Like as I already given some introduction as part of our Python. So somebody is asking me, sir, why do you prefer to use the Python for our machine learning? So machine learning is a mathematical based concept, guys. So whatever the utilities you require in machine learning, everything is provided by the Python, like numerical calculation, NumPy. As you're asking, somebody is asking about tables, etc. If you want to work with the tables kind of thing, you have to use a module called as Pandas. So Pandas basically works with data frames. It's going to be works with the data frames. If you want, you can work with them, guys. It is going to be nothing but it is going to be pandas Pandas which is going to be it's a pandas Python. You say pandas in Python actually, guys. So if you see the pandas in Python, you can see pandas.pydata.org. It is also a very open source library. It's an open source library, guys. Pandas. You can see here now. Pandas is a software library written for the Python programming language for data manipulation and analysis. In particular, it offers the data structures and operation for manipulations, numerical tables, and time series analysis. It's a free software released under the public license. It is going to be the public license only. It was released. So why we have to use Python for our machine learning means for our data science is all the libraries, whatever the utilities you require, guys, everything is provided by Python, by the Python community. For a data visualization, guys, if you want to do for a data visualization, we are going to be using a matplotlib. Lot of libraries are there, guys. Not one single library, multiple libraries are there. Matplotlib is there. There is a Seaborn is there. There is going to be some kind of so many are there. Bokeh is there. Or we are having something called as Plotly is there. So many other libraries are going to be there actually, guys. All these are basically used for data visualizations. Yes. Basically Pandas will completely work with the structured data. Shankar, that means I just want to know what type of unstructured data you want to use. Basically in Python, whenever as a machine learning or a data science expert, unstructured data means we have a different type of unstructured data. Any idea? What do you mean to say an unstructured data actually? Example. Okay. You want to read the data from a notepad. Okay, absolutely. Generally that is going to be just like a normal text data actually, guys. You can directly read it. It's not a big problem at all. It is an unstructured data. Pandas will do that. Pandas can do that. Even without the pandas also, we are going to be having a built-in libraries only. For example, I have a text is there. Just an example. Otherwise, I'll show you the example once practically. We'll try it. It's Pandas basically works with structured data basically. Pandas basically works with the structured data. Even unstructured data also not a problem. Import, which is going to be not import. Directly we can use. There is a function called as an open is there. There is going to be some kind of there are some built-in utilities are there, guys. Directly I can work with them. Let me try. Do I have any such kind of a text data is there? Let me try with this. Any text data, just normal text data actually, guys. Any normal text data. Otherwise I'll do one thing. Otherwise does not matter. There is some script is there. Some DDL script.sql is there. I'm just going to read this df equals to or something like a file equals to. Let me try. It is going to open actually for I in the file. Just don't worry. I'm trying this. Just let us try this particular example actually, guys. So this is the text I have been got ready actually, guys. This is a text. Whatever that particular text is there in that particular SQL file, this is a text I was able to read it actually. Sorry. If you want, I'll show you the text. In the D drive, it was there. In my D drive, it was there actually, guys. In D drive, I have a script called as n, which is going to be DDL script. Something is there. You can use that particular DDL script.sql actually. So this is a normal text file. I can open it. It's not a problem for me. So open with a normal notepad. This is the text what we are going to be having. It's a kind of an unstructured normal text data is there. Some script is there. I was able to read the data from the script actually. Yes, we can open the text file and we can read it. Absolutely. Okay. So everything just, it is going to be just like an open. Yes, absolutely. Are you talking about this open only now? Vamshi, I think your name is also Vamshi Krishna. My name is also Vamshi Krishna. Okay. So people don't get confused. Is Vamshi Krishna is different and this Vamshi Krishna is different. Okay. If you see any messages from Vamshi Krishna, please check it out, whether I or other participant is there. Okay. Fine, guys. I think you are talking about this one. Absolutely. This is going to be just by using, sorry, guys, open, and we can read the text actually. So this is open is an, it's a standard library. It's a part of a standard library. I don't require to import anything. So basically my idea here is everything is going to be provided. Similarly, can you load the data from other sources? Absolutely. Shankar, we can do all of them actually. Let me import the pandas just for a timing. I'm importing the pandas basically. I say import. Everything should be imported actually, guys. Import pandas as for example PD. If I said PD dot, it is going to be read underscore. You will get a lot of options actually, guys. We really get a lot of options. Do you want to read it from a clipboard? Do you want to read it from a CSV, Excel sheet? Do you want to read the data from a table? If you want to read the data from any table actually, guys, read underscore we are having select is there. Or we can say read underscore SQL is there, or SQL query is there, SQL table is there. We have a multiple options are there actually, guys. So there are a lot of utilities. You really don't require to write any code. You really don't require to write any code. Any code we can just randomly we can do with an application actually, guys. That's it. That is going to be the basic idea about how we are going to be gets working with them. So for any functionality you want, there is a predefined library will be there. Just import the library and we can work. So once you go to your actual course curriculum, guys, once you start with the machine learning, you can find a lot of utilities are there. Matplotlib, Seaborn, Bouquet, Plotly, data visualizations, data manipulations, numerical calculations, guys. NumPy is basically very useful whenever we work with the deep learning. Deep learning completely works with the NumPy module only, guys. When you go to deep learning, you should be working with NumPy. Sorry. In machine learning, we are going to use the pandas basically, guys. And so many are there, guys. For machine learning, we are going to use sklearn, which is going to be a short form of what we are going to call it as a scikit-learn module actually, guys. Basically for machine learning, we use this. And for deep learning, guys, Keras, we are going to use a TensorFlow. These are the popular libraries, guys. TensorFlow, which is going to be PyTorch. These are going to be the popular libraries for deep learning actually, guys. And basically for NLP, if you want to work with NLP related, guys, we are going to be having very interesting application, guys. NLP, we are having a module called as an NLTK. We are going to be having something called as an Spassy. It is going to be Spassy, or we are going to be having something called as an TextBlob. These are going to be some of the libraries basically for NLP related application, guys. Very easy. Once you go there, you will understand them, guys. If you want, we can work with NLTK, Natural Language Toolkit, or you can work with something called as an, it is going to be SAPI, which is going to be SAPI, what we are going to call it as. It is basically for NLP related application, guys. It is going to be NLP related. SciPy is there. SciPy is basically for scientific calculations. SciPy library is going to be there. Even we are having something called as an TextBlob is going to be there. So there are so many modules are there actually, guys. These are all some kind of an open source libraries ready to use. No need to write any particular code. Just there is a function will be there. Import, just pass the function. It is going to do that. Even you can do some kind of an spelling correction also, guys. How do you do the spelling correction? You really don't require to write any code, guys. There is a spelling correction is there. If you want to directly do the spelling correction, we can directly do it. So we can see spelling correction will be there, guys. If you really find out, that will be very, very easy for us. You don't really write any code. Directly, this is a function actually, guys. Something you can see, test blob is there, I have a good spelling is there. Just I said b dot correct, automatically it will correct the text actually, guys. Over. You really don't require to write any code like that. Spell check. We can do this actually, guys. Yes, all this will comes with a practice. That means when to use which libraries, I'll tell you. So when to use which libraries, we are going to tell you guys. Like we can see pandas, visualization. When you work with the visualization, guys, we are going to be using matplotlib. We are going to be using Seaborn. And while working with NLP, we are going to be using NLTK. Okay, some kind of an web scraping applications. We are going to be using some kind of a modules. When you work with the deep learning, guys, when you're working with deep learning, sorry, we are going to be working with something like Keras. We are going to be using some kind of an Keras. We are going to be using TensorFlow. We are going to be using PyTorch. These are the libraries what we are going to be using. So over the time period, we are going to use that. No, text blob is okay. It's an module. Inside that, text blob is a class actually. It's not a function, because you can see something like they are creating an object actually. B is an object. B dot correct is a method. So text blob is not a function. It is a class. We are creating an object, and using the object dot method, we are going to be doing the correction. It's not a function actually. Okay. So if you are creating an object, it is going to be nothing but what we are going to call it as. It's a class actually. Sometimes it may be function. If you are able to use it directly. If you see this is an object. It's a function actually directly. So later I'll tell you some, maybe for some people confusion it is. What is a function? What is a method? Okay, fine. Okay, guys. So I think you got a clarity about them. Why Python is popular for this? Because Python provides you a lot of libraries where you, without writing any single line of code, we can just get all these kind of functionalities, guys. Similar to Python, R also provides you a lot of libraries, guys. When you go to the R language also, same procedure, same concept, guys. Our community is also a very huge community, a lot of contributions. Really, we can have a lot of contributions. Yes, I'll clear the questions. So during the discussion, if you have any queries, you can discuss them. Current point of discussion. If it is a little bit out of the current discussion, at the end of the class, you can ask me. I just initially 10-15 minutes before only I'll end up the session. And after, just for initial classes, guys, it's just 10-15 minutes. After that, we are going to be having a regular class up to 9:30. We'll be having the class. Okay. Yes, Aniket Sahu, at the end of the classes or during the current discussion, if you have any doubts related to the current discussion, you can just post your question. Otherwise, if it is something out of the current discussion, at the end of the class, you can ask me. Okay, fine. Even in R language also, guys, R is also a very huge community. A lot of contribution across the worlds. So many expertise, so many domain experts, so many mathematicians, so many statisticians, so many doctors, so many has been contributed to this R language. R is also a very big community. A lot of contributions, guys. These are also contributions, guys. NumPy is a contribution to Python. Pandas is a contribution to Python. Matplotlib, Seaborn, Bouquets, even the scikit-learn, Keras, TensorFlow, PyTorch, NLTK, Spassy, TextBlock. All these are contributions to the Python community. Whereas earlier we have been talking about that. It is developed by the Python community itself. That is OS, zip file. All these are going to be some of the contribution done by the Python community. These are the contribution to the Python community, guys. That's why when you see them, it is going to be docs.python.org. Whenever we talk about the help of them, it is going to be comes from docs.python.org. But whenever we ask for NumPy, it won't come as a docs.python.org, numpy.org, pandas.pydata.org. Matplotlib, if you want to see, you can see the Matplotlib also, guys. If you want to see the Matplotlib, guys, if you want, you can see the Matplotlib. A very huge module will be there, matplotlib.org. This is a data visualization with the Python. If you see the examples, guys, so many examples will be there. Hundreds of examples. So many. Whenever we start with them, we'll discuss about them, guys. So many examples will be there. All these are data visualizations. All these are going to be data visualizations actually, guys. Even Seaborn. If you want to work with the Seaborn, we can work with the Seaborn, guys. Seaborn.pydata.org. This is going to be another data visualization library. Bouquet is going to be another data visualization library. Like that, for every functionality you require, you will be having some kind of a library is there. Bouquet visualization library. it is not provided by the Python community. It was contributed to the Python community, guys. Okay. So like this, we'll be having various libraries are there, guys, which we are going to be gets working. Just an example, Keras. This is going to be nothing but a Keras module actually, guys. The Python deep learning API. We can work with TensorFlow. We can work with the TensorFlow actually, guys. This is going to be a TensorFlow. We can just see TensorFlow. Actually, all these are mathematics topics only, guys. Tensor is a mathematical object. It's a multi-dimensional. TensorFlow was derived from tensor. Tensor is a nothing but one of the mathematical data structure we uses. It works based on the tensor. Even we are having TensorFlow was basically developed by Google DeepBrains. And whenever we work with the PyTorch is developed by the Facebook. It's developed by the Facebook AI team actually, guys. Like that, we have a lot of contribution to the Python community actually, guys. A deep learning with PyTorch. It's a pytorch.org. It also works basically with the concept of tensors only. It is going to be gets working with them actually, guys. Okay. So these are some kind of a neural networks and all these things we are going to be gets working with them. Don't worry. Later we are going to be gets working with them. Okay. So main advantage of using the Python for our data science course is whatever the requirements or whatever the functionalities you require or whatever the methodologies you require for data science, all of them are going to be contributed by various communities. So you really require no coding is going to be required, guys. As in beginning, so many people has asked me, sir, we are from mechanical background or we don't have any idea about programming languages. So you have been done MSc Maths. No worry about them. Just initially a little bit confusion initially, but over that time period, if you just struggle a little bit for 1 or 2 weeks, you will be getting a good clarity about how to implement them, guys. We are not writing the functions. We are just calling the function which somebody has already developed. Just pass some input and get the required output, whatever you require it actually, guys. Okay. So the one of the main advantage of the Python is going to be nothing but Python comes with a lot of built-in modules and add-on modules. They're not built in. All of them are not built in. Some of them are going to be add-on. We have to install them. We have to download and we have to, it's not installation. We have to import them, guys. We have to just download them and we have to import them actually. So a lot of modules as part of our machine learning course. So many modules will learn them, guys. Not only that, there are so many are there. As I told you, almost all of them, guys. NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Bokeh, Plotly, Dash, and apart from that, Keras, TensorFlow, PyTorch, NLTK, Spassy, which is going to be TextBlob. So many modules are going to be there actually, guys. We are going to work on all these particular modules based on our requirement. Just we have to search for the required module, import it, and start using it. You really don't require any kind of an application. No need of writing any code. Just call the function and do the required application, guys. Got it? So that is going to be one of the main advantage of using the Python, guys. So now hope some few questions, guys, like why Python is better than why Python is going to be more popular than Java. When somebody has asked me the question. And one more question is, sir, why do you require Python for our machine learning? I think you got the clarification about those particular points, right? Is it good, guys? Is it fine, guys? Fine. So just for today, we'll end up the session, guys. Just for today, we'll just end up the session. Actually, my class timing is up to 9:30. But initially, just for a couple of, not couple of a week, for a couple of days, for it may be some 2 or 3 days, just up to the introduction is overing because some new people may join in the coming 2 or 3 days also. So just a little bit discussion about this particular Python. Once 2 or 3 classes will go for the basics only, guys. Then once our main topics will start, you will be having up to 9:30 class actually, guys. Okay. Now, if you have any questions, you can just go for the questions, guys. Shivaling, right now, because I was a consultant trainer for them, and right now I don't have any idea, but already I given some contact numbers. No, you can just call them and you can get the further details actually if you are looking for a morning batch. So as of now, I don't have any idea behind them, but you can just contact the Durgasoft people, my backend team, and they will guide you. So if you want any details about the morning batch, but regular batches will be there, either me or some other trainer. It's not that every batch I have to take it by myself. So because I work as a consultant trainer, I works for various consultants, that means various institutes. So it is going to be maybe myself, or it may be some other person. Okay, fine. Yes, absolutely. We are going to be learning all the maths and whatever that particular maths part of whatever the maths and stats that is going to be required, we'll cover them. Mithun. No doubt, guys. Without learning them, you cannot learn that particular ML and DLs. Compulsory, we have to learn it actually. Yeah. No. It's not a repository. It comes only with our research. It comes only with our practice. Nitish. Okay, you can search in the internet actually. What are the libraries? Actually, Python community provide you the list, the repository for the total Python, what are the built-in. But these are going to be add-ons. So they don't provide, they don't maintain any repositories for that. It is only for our practice. Only from our practice only we can do them. Yeah, what is the difference between Python and R? Which one is mostly used in real-time industry? Whether all similar modules which is highlighted in Python also present in R1? Yes. Shankar Prabhu, it is same as it is, but specifically for deep learning, we mostly prefer Python because in our language, we don't have that much contribution to that towards the deep learning. Towards the deep learning, we don't have that much contribution in the R. But as part of machine learning, as part of NLP, almost all I can say that Python and R, both of them are going to be the same as it is. And I told you, no, it is an open sources. So in industry, when you go to the industry, real implementation, they don't limit you saying that you have to use Python, you have to use R. They're open sources. You are free to use. They require only their functionalities, whatever we are expecting. Yes, we'll do that. Yes, I'll teach you how to. All these are open sources, guys. We don't find any difficulty in installation. Anyhow, in the next class, I'll show you the installation of Python base system. We'll install it and starting working with the beginning of them. Okay, fine. And coming to the somebody is asking Siddhant, course fees is 16,000. But you can contact Durgasoft people for the further details about that. If you want to discuss about the fees related any issues or discussions, you can just contact the Durgasoft people for them. Okay. Yes, we'll be having end-to-end project is also going to be there. You really enjoy them actually, guys, because we don't work with a small, that means while in our regular classes also, while discussing about the topics, while discussing about some algorithms, we don't use any dummy data sets actually, guys. We really uses a lot of real data sets only we are going to be using. So we have a lot of resources for online data sets actually. We are going to using them, and we also going to share you a lot of data sets we are going to be using them, guys. So I'm going to share some kind of a data sets. These are all my data sets actually, guys. Some of them are going to be CSV files. Some of them are going to be audio files. Some of them are going to be images. Even audio files also will be there for our data, guys. Even images are also going to be part of our data. So we are also going to share you some data sets to you, which you can practice with them. Otherwise, there are so many online resources are there where you can get whatever the data sets you require. Even that data sets also we can download them, guys. Okay, fine. Yes, Nafis, placement assistance will be given. Placement assistance will be given from end to end, whatever you require. Everything is going to be my commitment. It is going to be my commitment, guys, and it is going to be my guarantee, which I'm going to do that. Technically, whatever you require to getting a job, training, FAQs, whatever the assignments, assessments, everything is going to be committed from my side. Yes, absolutely. We'll create a group. I already informed them because still only some few people, I think there are some around 30 for 35. Yeah, we'll have a mock test also will be there. No, Django is not a part of our course because Siddhant, Django is going to be used basically for web development. Actually, we also use this for some part of deployment also we can use, but we don't use the Django for our deployment process. We are going to be using some kind of a cloud services, but Django is basically used for web development, not for any machine learning applications. Okay. Yeah, technical assessments means we'll be having some kind of an POCs I'm going to give you. I'm going to conduct some kind of an exams, some kind of an assignments I'm going to give you. Those things. Yes, as I told you, Flask is also used for deployment. Some up to some extent, not in depth about the Flask. Up to some extent, you require the Flask also for deployment process. Today, 2 or 3 classes, nothing to practice. Just 1 or 2 classes are introduction classes, no? So 1 or 2 days, we don't have anything to practice. Just review the video and just go through them and just get some points online. So try to find out what are the features of Python. You can also get a little bit more and more clarity about them. Yes, Nafis, course duration is totally for 4 months. 100 sessions, we can do that. Can we use junkies? I think so. I don't have what is the related? What is the basically related to junkies basically? I didn't have any idea about that. Basically, if we
can we use any Jenkins?
Okay. Once again, Jenkins basically for
build deployment. Can we use DevOps, right?
We don't want to go for that kind of applications, but for deployment process, we have a separate things are there. It's in basically we'll be discussing about some kind of an cloud deployments we are going to be using, like Azure or something like this. We are going to be using it basically. Okay, fine. Fine, guys. No, we don't cover the ML ops because that is a different. It's a different course actually. Yes, that means Pavitra, whatever I discuss is going to be the main topics we are going to discuss. And if you want to become a data scientist, more and more exploration is going to be required actually. More and more exploration. More and more research has to be done. So whatever the topics I'm going to discuss, you have to go a little bit deep into them. NLP will be there. So if you discuss about them, it will take 6 months or 7 months of time. So basically what is important, we are going to highlight on that. And what are going to be the other things, we are going to be giving some kind of a basic knowledge about that or some intermediate levels. Remaining, you have to do a lot of exploration. I will be giving a lot of articles, guys. I'll share you some lot of articles, the blogs. You have to read them actually. Yes, absolutely, Vijay. But you have to show, because we are saying that you are having a 10 years experience in teaching. So at least you have to show if you want to get a real job, if you want to get it, you cannot show as a completely 10 years of teaching experience, at least 7 years of teaching experience and 3 years of industry experience. Like that, if you can show up the things, then you can get the job easily. Because as a completely teaching experience, they don't consider them basically for industry experience. Okay. Fine, guys. So hope all of you clarified your doubts actually, guys. And still any questions? As Vijay Shinde, please talk with Durgas of my backend team. Okay. Fees related, everything you have to talk with my backend team actually. Yes, you can also freelancing also, even freelancing jobs also will be there actually, guys, because some of my students are even working as a freelancers. We'll get some kind of a projects from US. So you can submit that particular projects. We have some kind of a freelancing jobs are also there actually. Yes, Shankar Prabhu, what levels of jobs we can apply after completion of the course? As already told you, you can become a data analyst, machine learning expert, or NLP engineer, or it may be deep learning expert, or it can be data visualization expert. You are having multiple roles are there. So you need not to work only on a data scientist means completely end to end. At different levels, you can work with them. Okay, fine, guys. So that's it for today, guys. Just for end up the session for today. And we'll continue for the tomorrow's class. I think still a lot of people has to still register. So hope you will see you all of you tomorrow. If anybody has been joined for the today's class. So if you have missed the previous classes, don't worry. They are only just an introductions where you will be getting the backup of that particular videos also. You will get the backup videos. You can just go through them and nothing has been missed in the previous classes. Today is our starting and regular class actually, guys. So tomorrow we'll install Python. The base system will do the installation and we'll start with the basic practicals of Python actually, guys. Okay. So just for today, I'll stop it here, guys, and we'll continue in the tomorrow's class. Thank you all of you and have a nice day. And Nitish, if there is any problem, if there is any link changes and all these things, you will be getting the update from my backend team. So every day to day, I think once the regular session starts, there will be one standard link will be there because these are all some demos and all these things. No, they may be giving some temporary links. But
Okay,
once the actual
officer.
classes starts, we'll be getting a regular link will come.
Okay. Oh, basically, I have registered myself now. That's why I'm asking that. Basically, regularly I have to check my mail for the
No.
training course or
No.
not?
Only for the first initially, you will be
Okay.
getting some updates, some new links will come.
Okay.
But once the batch is it's stabilized, that means once it was started, then you will be getting one standard link will be there.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Okay.
so much. Yep.
Fine.
Yeah.
Thank you all of you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you all of you once again.